Welcome back with Happy Chappy. So, this is Mouse and Cat Town. Yeah. So, I've got the outline of this story, so bear with me as I tell it. So, we have this town called Cat Town. And in this cat town, there's one little mouse who goes about the town doing its own thing. Now, the cats don't pass much remarks on this mouse. They just think it's foolish that the mouse would be walking around in Cat Town. But the mouse does. It goes about, it does its things, mouse things, that are different than what the cats do. And so, the more this mouse goes about the town, it starts to notice that the cats that are around start feeling different towards the mouse. Their approaches, their actions seem to start changing. And the mouse knew that it was only a matter of time for things to change in the way that they've been. That these mice or these cats weren't always going to be okay about the mouse going through their town. And so the mouse would make a plan for the day that things would change. And while the mouse carried out its plan, it would still go through the town, observing the cats, being aware while it done its things. And this would infuriate the cats. They would get more strung up about this mouse in their town each and every day that they would see this mouse around. And this mouse just seemed to get happier and happier every time the cats would see it. And they would get jealous of this and start coming together, making plans to get rid of this mouse, saying that this mouse isn't part of our town, it isn't part of who we are. We don't need this mouse around. How can it walk through our town being so happy? It's not for that mouse to be happy in this town. That's for us to be happy. And so they start to feel that they'd be happy if they took out this mouse in their town, so they didn't have to see the mouse around. And so as they plan to take out this mouse, the mouse was already in action with his plans, because he knew there was a time that would come that they would feel so uncomfortable with his presence that it was either him or them. And so, while they started to make their plan, the mouse was already finished with his. You see, the mouse had dug a tunnel from his house so he could go back into the town when there'd be no one around. You see, it came to that point where the mouse was on his way home and he started to see the cats had all came together to come after him. And as he approached his home, there they were, all around him, surrounding him. But the mouse was unfearful of any of these cats because he'd seen this coming, and he'd also seen how fearful the cats are of his presence, that they had to come to group to capture him. And so he would walk into his home and carry on about his business as he would normally. And coming to the next day, he would wake up and he would see that he was still being surrounded by these cats. But he knew if he stayed there too long, that he was going to starve to death. And they knew that too. But he also knows that the cats will starve to death stalking him out if he can just survive in the way that he would have normally, doing what he normally does, which would mean he would have to get food. And so he had already finished his plan with his digging his tunnel into town. And while he woke up and seen these cats still waiting around, he would go into his tunnel and into town and get his food while he walked around in peace, in who he be, and come back home and would look out for the cats to see, with the illusion that he was trapped by them surrounding him, and so making them believe that their trap was working. And day in, day out would pass, another day and another day, and so on, until one day the mouse seen that the cats were all lying down. And the mouse would go out and see that the cats had passed away, that they had actually starved themselves while trying to starve the mouse. And so now the town was free for the mouse. It became Mouse Town. And all the other mouses in all the other towns would come to this mouse town. And they would call this mouse Mighty Mouse. You see, the point is, sometimes we use numbers or sizes of people in illusion that it has power and strength. As I say, the illusion. But what this mouse had was intelligence, because it knew what was coming. It had been waiting. It had been waiting a long time. And when that time had came, it had its plan well made out and was able to carry it out with success, while the enemies fell into their own grave that they dug. Intelligence, something that we all have and that we all can grow with more and more each day, by learning something new each day, something more, You see, when we learn something new, we don't just learn that new thing. It changes everything that we've known about everything else. As it adapts into our consciousness of all that we know, it changes a pattern of what we had to a new pattern to be in how we see all that we see, by all that we know in our memory. And so our memory is changed. And so because our memory is changed, we change. We advance in who we be with new knowledge. And then you get to see that we are knowledgeable, we are smart, we're intelligent beings. But if we don't use that power, like the cats, then we will just dig a hole for ourselves and sit in it with no way out but death. So you could either live or die by your ways of being. Intelligence would say, take the wise choice and live learning. Learning to enjoy something new each and every day in your experience of life. And not being bothered by others. Because when you're bothered by others, you're taken away from your own experience. You're taken away from your own life. Until one day, that life is taken away from you. So whatever you do today, make sure you're enjoying your experience. Maybe you want to learn something new. Maybe it's learn something new about something that you already know. But whatever it is, enjoy your experience. Because when you're bothered by somebody else's experience, then they're taken away from your life, from your enjoyment, from your happiness. And so you will be the one who suffers, like the cats. Let's be happy, Chapa. Love and peace.